Oh, I forgot
And
that's
cool
right.
start.
It's a totally different thing. I have it on my phone, and so I'm like, "What do you mean 5 seconds? I've got 10 seconds here, according to this phone." So, good news. Okay, for those of you that don't know, the lag between the when we start and the actual time we start is actually 5 seconds.
And welcome to One Stop Co-op Shop.
There we go. So, I'm sorry. I thought
You're correct. There's normally like around a 7-second latency between us actual live and when it gets to the servers and everything.
I had my so for those of you that don't know, as I'm streaming, I'm actually looking at our chat with each other, but over on the side I've got my phone that shows me the chat, right? And so I was watching the delay on the chat. I was watching the countdown on the phone, and so Steve kind of tries to make me not talk before we start. Doesn't work.
Never
And he
works.
goes, "You've got 5 seconds." Like, 5? What do you mean? This thing says 10. Then of course you all heard me from that.
Oh, that's incredible. That is
But
just
it's all
pure
old news.
incredibleness.
Old news.
Pure incredibleness. Anyway, I love you, Bairnt. You're amazing.
Someday I'll get this right.
Someday. But yeah, welcome to Co-op Chat. This is our weekly live chat. We focus on different discussion each week. But this week was a pretty obvious topic as we all went to Gen Con, and so we're going to talk about all the Gen Con goodness. So,
whoa. All the Gen Con good? Like all of it?
Sure. Or do we feel like talking? I don't know. So, but yes, if you guys have any questions and want to know any more details, we could talk about it. But I figure, bro, we'll just have a live chat talking about chronologically how our adventure went. So, okay, let's start.
I will. Spoiler alert: you're going to want to stay to the end because it gets really good at the end.
Yes, and bad at the end, which I'll say later.
So. Oh boy, even I'm curious now.
So Gen Con was last week, and I flew in early. I got there Wednesday because there was a Asmodee event Wednesday to go to, and there they had different games laid out, so we can take a look at that. So what did you bring me? Let's get the important stuff first. Yeah, we'll get there right now, actually. So, the first thing we'll talk about is this event. So the event was pretty cool. There's a lot of folks that a who's who was there basically. So I'm not sure why I was there, but it was an Asmodee event, and they had a lot of games on the table for previewing, talk with people and designers, all that fun stuff. So. Got to look at some cool stuff like Metal Gear Solid was there, so I took a look at that game a bit.
So you just got to look at these. You didn't get a chance to really give them a shot. Just kind of there to show what's kind of coming. Okay,
that's correct. Didn't get to demo these unfortunately, but looking at this one, this is a stealth game, of course. So I'm interested in that one, and the designer is awesome, so I'm excited about that. But I didn't get a chance to play it. I haven't backed this one yet. I'm not entirely sure on some of the rules with how the enemies move. Like, I understand how it works, but I'm not sure how much I like it, put it that way. So
I don't know if I'm going to back this because I can't. I know I've said this every time this game comes up. I can't fathom the Psycho Mantis fight. I don't know how it could ever be done better than the original experience you have with that fight. So I don't. It's just it can't happen. So I'm just kind of wondering how.
Well, it's the same thing with the Sniper Wolf fight, right? I mean,
yeah.
Those are such iconic fights and things that had never really been seen before in video games, which is they're kind of breaking the mold. And it was kind of like, oh my gosh, like how can they do that in board game form? Yeah. Like, okay, you have to roll with your left hand. I don't know. Anyway, keep going, Steve. What you got next?
Yeah.
We didn't go to this, by the way. Only Steve got to go. I was stuck. Colin and I are kind of what do you call it? Travel impaired. We can't seem to ever find the right way to go correctly. And so it's called directionally impaired. I probably should not use travel impaired. That's probably the wrong word. I am directionally impaired. And so we had the GPS going the right direction. And then we stopped to kind of get gas and things like that. And then we got back in the car and he put it on again and forgot to reroute us through Chicago. So we were stuck in Chicago for a good hour. So we kind of missed the event.
Yeah, you guys got there late, unfortunately. So it was cool. I'm glad I went there, but like I said, You can sign up for demos, which I probably should have done in hindsight, but it was.
And
cool.
when was this? Wednesday or Thursday?
This is Wednesday. Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't there yet.
No, you were still
Yeah, there's some cool stuff out there. They had the Witcher game, of course, that was there. So I took a look at that one as well. I think my computer played this one. They talked about it. They seem pretty up on this one.
I played this game at UK Game Expo.
You did?
Yes, I did get to play. Is this the old world one?
Yes. Which is
I played this
version.
game at UK Game Expo. Yeah. It didn't hit for me.
Mm.
It just seemed random.
Yeah. I know Mike did kind of his Gen Con recap, but a lot of his stuff was kind of like the behind the scenes. He didn't really talk about anything that was there or like games to play, things like that. I think he just talked about like some prototypes he tried and things like that.
Yeah. This one wasn't for me.
I feel like this one needs I can't think of the name, the Legendary Creatures expansion, something like that. I can't remember. Monster expansion, where like you actually have like some goals, because otherwise, like you said, Derrick, you just kind of doing whatever, I guess, per se.
Well, it's a race.
Yeah.
This one is not like, oh, hey, there's this mission or we're trying to stop the wild hunt or whatever it is. It's a race between witchers it's kind of like a race to the high score, so it's more competitive.
It's more competitive until you get like one of the expansions, for sure.
And
good, because I'm not a big. What you're saying right now doesn't sound fun to me. Because why would you want to go exploring if your goal is to get to that like end game as fast as you can?
Right.
Yeah, it's odd. Like I said, I sat down. I think it was when Cynthia and I went to UK Game Expo. We sat down and we tried it out, and it was, like the gambling was cool. So what happens is when one of the players is about to fight a monster, the other witchers can gamble whether they'll win or lose.
I like gambling when I win.
Yeah, and so if they based on what the witchers what the bet is, if the player loses and the other witchers say, yeah, we bet that you'd lose, they get money. Like, so that's why I was like, it's more it's a competitive game, and if we need an expansion to make it co-op,
yeah, that's what Mike mentioned here.
If you need an expansion,
this is the Wild Hunt expansion is what people really talk about. So
that says that it makes it more co-op. Yeah. I'll pass on it.
Yeah, Mike says it feels more like an RPG adventure than other board games I've played, which I think seems fairly accurate from what I've heard from others too. So, but yeah, took a look at that one. There was quite a few games there, but I'm going to focus obviously on the co-op games. But this next one, I think, is the one that stood out to me during this event, and that was Borderlands. This game seems really cool. I didn't get a chance to play it, unfortunately, but it is co-op. And
yes, so it's the video game.
Yep, so it's the video game, exactly. And it looks really, really fun. Those decks of cards you see on there, the piles, those are like ammo and equipment and weapons like that. Every card in there is unique.
Yes, just like the video game.
Exactly. So tons of drops. You definitely have to work together. And this one, you've got like hordes of enemies coming at you, and there are different objectives you have to do. A lot of replayability maps, different characters types and classes you can pick out, stuff like that. Like I said, didn't play this one, but this one was the one that I'm most excited for when I toured the Asmodee stuff. So.
Okay,
awesome.
I think when I saw this one, I was like, it looks like arena, the arena style, and
Rings of Conquest
mixed with Deep Rock Galactic.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, for sure. I was expecting to be kind of like kind of competitive edge to it. I don't know what something about like how presentation style looks like it's gonna be competitive arena. I'm gonna shoot at my friends type thing. And that was not the case in this one when I was talking to the guy. So
nice, because I was like, now you're getting me fired up for this one because I like the video game. it's funny because I've played a lot of Borderlands and many
Mhm.
different people. I love the fact you have the different skill trees. I wonder if they're including that kind of thing.
They
it
are
and
in
stuff
there.
like
Yep, the skill trees are there.
Yeah, it'd be really cool to see that all kind of transpire into a board game form. I just hope I just hope it continues to can go forward looking fun.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yep, I agree.
So yeah, be on the lookout for that one. I'm hoping we can get some coverage at some point about it. But so those were that was the first thing that Wednesday. Saw a bunch of those games. Let's see. After that, we did go and we met up at a
Hotel.
hotel. Thank you. That's the other word I'm looking for.
Yes, it's a
This
for
place where people
it's a place
sleep
where people
and
pay
you
to
get to
sleep,
rest.
where all you get is like a bed.
That's right. So, fortunately, Derek's not in this pick yet. You weren't there yet.
You weren't there yet.
Exactly.
No, you were still wishing you were there.
Yes.
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 This was actually the first time. You shouldn't say the first time because Jason wasn't there. That almost the entire One Stop group was together.
Yep.
Sadly, Jason couldn't make it out here. If Jason was there, that would have been the entire One Stop crew together.
Yep.
Ever. First time. But
yeah, so we sat down and played a game. This was
The
Greyport.
octopus one,
Battle
right?
for
Battle of
Greyport.
Yep.
I'll help you,
Okay.
Steve.
Thank you.
I'm here for you.
And yeah,
Like
so it was
somebody
fun.
said, oh
I
my
think
gosh,
it was
I've never
you-
seen Bairnt in a hat before. Yep, I actually brought a hat.
Yes, he has a hat. Yes. Now, Baron, was this your first time playing Battle for Greyport?
Yes,
What did you think of it?
I want it to be harder.
Oh yes, we played the easy mode on the very first one.
And I didn't realize it was easy mode. But it was funny because when we first put everything out there, we thought, oh my gosh, we're all going to die. Because like you had all these starter cards that did 1 damage. And I'm like, oh, okay, so how much health does my guy have? 2 guys I have to fight. Oh, they each have 6 health. There's no way I'm killing those people at all. That is terrible. And Liquider Gaming's here. Good to see you, Zach. If anybody's wondering who Liquider Gaming is, he actually is sitting next to me in the picture.
Yep.
So everybody knows Terrence if they watch the stream channel. So the only person there that's not actually on the One Stop would be Zach, and he's but he came and hung out with us. He was there for quite a bit. We hung out with Zach a lot. I mean, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun hanging out with everybody. So yeah, we hung out at the hotel, and that was basically Wednesday night. There wasn't a whole lot else going on from that standpoint.
We missed like all the fun and activity of the block party and stuff, which we were really hoping to get to. But by the time we got, like I said, Colin and I got sidetracked. We got directionally impaired, and next thing we know, we were barely able to kind of get to that area. Like we got there and had dinner like at 8:30 or something, 8 o'clock, when we finally got our stuff all put in place and found everybody and blah 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 blah.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, Zach is awesome. I know you're in the chat, Zach, as well. But
yeah,
it was
incredible
so much
to meet
fun
him
hanging
and
out
his
with
family. Yeah.
And
Yeah, he and I, we had probably shared one of the worst dinners there. That we both got dinner at this the whole restaurant in the hotel. I think it was like the most burnt chicken fingers I've ever had in my life.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was so bad. The fries weren't bad, but
Didn't Colin eat most of your meal anyway?
I bought it and I was like, because he hadn't eaten either. And he's like, I don't need anything to eat. I'm like, oh, baloney. Here, let me go grab some chicken fingers. I'm not going to eat your chicken fingers. No, this one's yours. Eat this chicken finger. Okay. But that was actually amazing too, because I drove down with Colin. So he and I were in the car together 9 hours one way, 9 hours the other way. It was actually really cool. We discussed
awesome.
a whole bunch of stuff. We had a lot of fun. It was really neat like I told Colin, it's like I'm going all the way to Gen Con to kind of hang out with you, and I could do that. You're 15 minutes from my house.
Cool. All right. Yeah, that was basically Wednesday. Moving on to Thursday.
Woohoo! Thursday.
Thursday we get all the fun happens, right?
Thursday's a good time.
Good time stuff. So,
Was it? Your flight was amazing?
No, but
there we go.
I landed.
We woke up on Thursday to some wonderful breakfast. Did you know Steve's a chef?
He was telling me that he made breakfast for y'all every day.
He made breakfast every day for us. It was absolutely awesome. And I don't know what it is, but okay, so nope. I'm just gonna say this. Steve makes good eggs.
Glad you enjoyed them. So.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, backstory to that one. Bairnt, Colin, and I, we stayed at an Airbnb. So, and of course they had a kitchen and everything, and we're trying to figure out what to do for meals and stuff. I'm like, you know what? I on Gen Con, because it's so much happening, I like to really get some good food in me to like sustain me through the day, and eggs are something that will fill me for most of the day. And so, like, how about I make eggs in the morning for you guys? And so, um, and for me, it's kind of a zen period for me where I can like just focus on eggs. Take it easy waking up, and I don't know, something about that. So I had fun making eggs for you guys too. So, but yes, we had eggs every morning. So,
Yep, we're
That's
gonna do that
awesome.
next year.
yep. But yeah, we did Thursday morning, so we got to the con. I decided not to stand in line because I've done that in the past, and I don't need to do that again if I can avoid it. We'll get back to it in a second, though, because I wasn't able to avoid it.
There's a story to tell about lines.
Oh,
There is a
yes, there
story
is.
for sure. So, but we got there. I want to say like around 8 or 9. I can't remember. And I think this was a 9 o'clock event.
This
and
was
it
a 9 o'clock event. Was Arkham Horror?
Yep. So it was you, Bairnt, Colin, and Terrence playing the blob scenario.
Correct. They added a few things to it. Like the guy had some custom cards that he made for the scenario. Kanji can jump in. Kanji actually did play this. I think you played it like the
Thursday night. Thursday
yeah,
night.
played it Thursday night.
Yeah,
So
I'll tell my story as y'all. This is the morning. So
this morning. So we fought the blob. Sadly, Colin and I got a little anxious. And so we did this big thing. We did like tons of damage to the blob, and it was going to take like 2 more turns before we were going to fire up and attack this thing again, right? And it was like there was like 15 minutes, 20 minutes left of the event, and so we feel pretty bad to Terrence because all of a sudden, Colin and I are like, okay, well, I think we're done. Scoop, and we scooped our character and walked into the convention because we hadn't seen the convention yet. We were still, but at this point, the thing had like 600 health left. I mean, we're like, there's no way we're beating this thing. Let's just go. We got it. We had fun, and so we walked away.
Yeah, so I landed at 11. Took a cab, an Uber into the city, checked into my hotel, and then headed straight to the convention. And so I got in the convention. The hall was packed, but you could walk in easily. The mob had gone, and I went in, just started moseying around. I get a text from Bairnt. Hey, I'm in the hall. Where are you? I'm like, I'm starting at 300. No, that was Saturday. That was Saturday.
Yep, that's a different day. Don't worry.
I started walking the hall randomly, roaming, starting.
No, this is when we texted you multiple times and you never responded. This is where because Derrick's here, and even Steve's like, Derrick's avoiding me. I've messaged him 3 times. He just apparently doesn't want to ever hang out with us.
No, I honestly I put my phone in my back pocket and it was on the volume was down, so I didn't know I had the volume down. I didn't know I had the volume down.
It was so funny because I was like, is Derrick here? Yeah, I think I saw him. Why is he not messaging me? What's going on? We gotta meet up.
So I'm walking the halls by myself, and I'm like, okay, I'm looking for people. I don't know how to get in contact with them. Well, yes, this electronic device that is in my pocket could be a communication medium, but no, I'm walking because there's a lot of people. And so
Star Trek has had it from the 70s.
So Stacy messages me and she's like, I'm going over to the Van Ryder booth. Be there now. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I go over to the Van Ryder booth. I meet up with Stacy, and then she and I hang out until the Arkham. Then we go meet Janet, and Janet's sitting with Rob from Rob's Gaming Table, and just kind of chatting them up. So we go over there, and this is in the gaming hall, and we're just kind of talking for a second. Then I was like, I want to go back into the hall. So we went back into the hall. We're just aimlessly wandering, and then came time for our Arkham Horror event. We had this is a different shirt, but we all wore Arkham Horror Miskatonic University shirts.
Mm-hmm.
And so we go to the event, we sit down. Janet breaks out the most beautiful Arkham Horror bling that I've ever seen in my life. She has token acrylic tokens for everything, and the chaos bag, she had these metal, really awesome looking tokens that she had put in this for those. So we're using those to play. We're playing a little, then all of a sudden I feel like somebody come over and put their hand on my shoulder.
Well, we finally found you. Well, I would also like to preference that he did start using his electronical device.
I did.
But
I
still
did.
did not message us.
I said, no, I did. I messaged Steve.
Oh, okay.
I messaged Steve, and that's how y'all knew where I was, because I was like, hey, I saw all these messages coming on. Where are you? We're here. Why are you not talking to us? And so I messaged Steve. I was like, oh crap, I'm at the Arkham event. So over comes Steve, Bairnt, and Colin, I think, was with y'all. So and Zach came as well. And so y'all came over to the event. And we were playing. We had to fight the Blob. The Blob had 1,780 health and needed 166 clues to flip to Act 2. So
that sounds about right.
We beat the Blob in our scenario. We did win, but they came over, said hi, said that they were going to just kind of look around. I saw Barrett with his hat, and I was like, "Get your butt over here!" And so we hugged it out, and then we
that's when I realized that he apparently has some genetic grouping with Ed Too Tall Jones. He's like, if those of you don't know, that was like one of the most shocking things at Gen Con. It's like Derrick's like over 6 feet.
I'm 6'1".
I never thought this. I thought he was like, oh, he's probably about 5'8", 5'9", about 5. Whoop.
So Bairnt comes over and he looks at me and he's like, "You're a lot taller than I thought you were." And then you all went back in the hall and we continued playing our game. And we finished our game. I don't know. So I can cut to the night, or
I got something to interject.
So you got stuff.
We played a game. We played Forbidden Jungle a couple times, and then finally
y'all,
I want to jump in real quick because
it end at 9. I am not going to let him flee me again. So I went over and just sat there until you were done with your game.
Hey, Baron, I want to jump in real quick. Zimbo was on a previous live stream, and he had a dungeon crawl question. I thought you would be the best person to answer.
Oh, I know a couple things.
Yeah. So he was asking, what ways do you think Tales from Red Dragon Inn is better than Adventure Tactics? Because you want to compare these two as a lighter dungeon crawler approach.
Well, good news. I am going to be doing a playthrough of Tales from the Red Dragon Inn soon. I haven't even opened it to look at the rule book yet.
Yeah,
but
me too.
I have Colin's copy. Colin bought one at the con, and he said, I don't need it right now. Why don't you do a playthrough of it and then give it to me when you're done? And on top of that, I've only played Adventure Tactics a couple times with Colin. And from I've enjoyed it. I really like the leveling up system in that game. I thought that's really cool. But I haven't really dug into that one as much as I should either. So stay tuned on that one.
Yeah.
Watch Tales from the Red Dragon Inn. I know Mike did a playthrough, but I'll probably do a more in-depth and more expansive playthrough than just me. He probably just did like the first quest. I'll probably do more than just that. So I haven't had a chance to play him enough to tell you. I think Derrick, you played some Adventure Tactics, haven't you?
No, I've never played Adventure Tactics, but I did.
William,
but I did back.
Hungry Gamer. If you can get a hold of William from Hungry Gamer, I think he did a lot of Adventure Tactics too. He's played quite a bit.
Yeah, I did. I did back the Tales from Red Dragon in Kickstarter, so that delivered. So I'll be playing that one at some point as well.
Cool. So unfortunately, Zimbo, I guess none of us have played both of them at this point. So.
I haven't played either.
I have failed you, but like I said, stay tuned. Hopefully I always said, people all know this. The summer is always hard for me to get do recordings of because my family's all here because my wife's a teacher and my kids are off school. But as time goes on, once school starts, it gets a lot easier. I usually get a lot more time because people go to bed at a decent hour. Summer people, I guess, think they shouldn't stay up till like 10:30, 11 o'clock. I don't got to go to work.
Okay, so I want to jump back to.
Sorry.
I'll jump back to Jack on here. So
yeah.
So I was sitting with these guys when they played Arkham, and they started at 9, and at 10 o'clock is when the hall opens up, the vendor hall, and so I had a couple. Well, one must buy and one I really, really want to buy on my list. 2 games. So I'm like, cool. You know what? I'm not gonna stand in the line because I've done that in the past. And normally, like, if you wait 5 minutes, everything clears out anyway. Like the giant mass of people, once the doors open, it's a lot easier to walk around. So I'm like, you know what? At 10:05, I decided to head to the hall. So 5 minutes later, then the doors open. So I'm like, the doors open up. 10:05, I walk that direction, and I go immediately to Spin Master's booth. If you guys know, Derrick and I a little bit, we love Marvel
Just a little.
United.
Just a little. We
Just a
like
little
it a
bit.
little
Just a
bit,
little
right?
And so I got in line to get the Spider-Geddon box because that was the new core that was released. I'm like, cool, I'm excited for this. Waited in line. All right, yeah. So I saw the line and started wrapping around the booth. I'm like, cool. So I walked around the corner, walked around the other corner, walked around the other corner, wait a second. I walked around 4 corners. And basically what happened is this line was so long it like wrapped around itself. It was like spiraling out. It was kind of a mess, honestly. And so eventually I found like the end, stood in line and waited, and unfortunately did not get a copy. I'm like, wow, this is more challenging than I thought. So I messaged Derrick, be like, hey man, I tried, wasn't getting a copy. We'll have to make sure we get the next time.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, okay, well, I didn't get that one. Let's go for the other one I wanted, which was Sky Team. Sky Team is a 2-player cooperative game where a pilot and co-pilot work together to land a plane. So I walked over there. Again, line's super long. Like, dang it. They're not going to get this one either. Well, I failed today. So I walked around, talked to a lot of people, met a lot of faces and stuff like that, which is awesome. People who work with, like I talked to Louis Bruh, who did Keep the Heroes Out, and Ice Guard, which is Eric there for Sky Kingdom Games, and lots of Foreteller as well. Talked with them. I actually spent a lot of time with Foreteller later on in the con as well, so it was a lot of fun. So
yeah, and after our game finished about 9 p.m. and at that time we got out of the gaming hall and we met back up with Zach, Steve, Bairnt, and Colin, and so we went to the beer garden. And we sat down at the beer garden and just had some drinks and had some laughs. And we were out there for I know Janet and Stacy came with us and we were just all hanging out. And then they left and we hung out for a little bit longer. I think I got back to my hotel around midnight or so. So we hung out, just had some good laughs. And it was our first time, that we could sit down together and meet, in person for me, where I'm, other than Steve, I haven't met anybody else in person. So we all just kind of hung around the table, drinking some beer and just having a good laugh.
that was a fun time.
Yeah. Then Friday.
Hold on, I'm not doing Thursday.
Oh, go ahead.
I got more stuff. So one thing I did Thursday was meet up with Chuck, who's Calamac on our Discord. Someone who's very, very active on there. And it was awesome meeting him for the first time, face to face. And we played Legendary Encounters Matrix. So I love Marvel Legendary. The Legendary Encounter games I also enjoy. This one I was honestly not that excited for, but I was curious about it anyway because I like Legendary. Sat down and played it. I really enjoyed this game. This game is really well done.
Cool.
So it is obviously based upon the Matrix movies. There are all 3 movies are in the box. And the movies are depicted by 3 acts. And so you have to set the deck to go through the different acts, all that fun stuff. A lot of clever, unique mechanics to try to capture what's happening in the movie and translate that to the game. And so the big thing about this one is you're either in the Matrix or in the real world. And so you've got a standee. And if the standee's on the table, you're in the real world. And there's a Matrix in the Matrix spot on the board as well. And so the difference is if you're in the real world, you can buy stuff. That's how you can deck build. If you're in the Matrix, that's how you can scan and do combat. And the kicker is you need a hard line to get out. And so there are hard lines that are in the row where the enemies come out. The enemies can cover that up, so you don't have a way out. Or you can pay if the combat zone's open to get out that way. So you can only make that transition once a turn. So you can either enter or leave. So like when I mentioned about the cool things to do in this game, for example, if someone plays Neo for the first Matrix movie, and they are stuck in the Matrix, so they can like temporarily leave just to buy a card, but they are immediately pushed back in the Matrix. And it's interesting. You have to go through the story and figure out how to get out. Now, the cool thing about this one is it has multiple endings and branches. And so I played this one multiple times. This picture is from when I played with Chuck, but I played this with Bairnt and Colin a couple times after that, and I saw the other endings as well. And there's some endings I haven't seen yet, which is really really cool. Anyway,
This
So did you
game
buy
is
this game?
sweet.
Did
it
you
is.
buy this game, Steve?
I didn't buy
No,
it. No, Colin did.
This
Okay.
game is awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, I was really surprised by it, honestly.
Everything, it's like they've took everything that they could possibly have done with Legendary and used all the good things in this game.
Yeah, like there's some really cool thematic tie-ins.
They really made it thematic. We're not going to spoil what happens in the first one. If you want to see
Right.
it, I think Colin's doing a video of it. It should probably be up next week, where he's going to go through and do the first mission. But I do like the fact that if you're out of the Matrix, the only way you can buy cards.
Yep.
When you're in the Matrix, the only way you can fight.
Yep.
So it's like you have to decide where you want to be for that turn at the end. Like, do I want to buy cards and go in and fight? Or do I want to fight and get out of the Matrix and buy cards? Or do you want to get absolutely hosed and be in the Matrix and have only buying cards and you can't get out, and then be out of the Matrix and only have fighting cards and can't get back in? That's my favorite part. That was what happened to me the first game.
Yeah.
So is this game new?
yes, it's new.
Okay.
Came out of Gen Con, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the first we played twice. The first time I got totally ruined. I was like, basically, they're all like, "Oh, I'm gonna do like these 12 things with my 42 cards." I'm like, I got starter cards still because I got like I just got a bad draw, and it was really funny to watch. I was like, I got nothing. I got nothing.
Nice. Hey, Stacy.
Yeah, there's some really cool stuff in this one. So, and of course you have an avatar with special abilities that levels up as you play, so it was good times. So, yeah, that was really cool.
Did you get to say not like this at all?
I did. There's actually a card that says not like this, and I bought that card because I was playing Switch. It was funny because like anything that bad happened, like not like this. I was saying constantly.
There's real, like you said, super thematic. Like all the cards are like almost quotes from the show at all times. It's
That's
really
awesome.
It's
That's
really
awesome.
cool. Really cool.
They've even got like a card in there called Deja Vu that actually comes up twice.
Yep.
And then when it does actually resolve the second time, something actually really happens.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's-
Yeah, I'll check it out. I'll
It's
look for it.
pretty
I'll look
cool.
for it.
It is pretty cool.
I mean, now of course you have to remember it's Legendary Matrix. It's technically you're playing the 3 movies.
Yeah.
And kind of like the Alien one, once you kind of play the first one, you kind of see how it goes. You kind of get the idea of what it does and kind of things. Like I don't get me wrong, I love the Legendary games. I play the Alien Legendary game all the time, but I mean, I've gotten to the point now where it's like, okay, I know that I need to be finding these 2 certain cards
Right.
that comes to the deck. I need to, but when we first played it, we're like, I have no, and I think that's what really made it super cool. Is we had no idea what was coming next. Like,
Yep.
this guy came out. Oh, I remember that guy from the movie. Oh, he's super bad. And like, how are we going to deal with that? And so we eventually, as we're going through, we figure out how to deal with him. But it's like we had no idea when this guy first came out, like what we're going to do about this guy. So it's really kind of cool.
It's cool
Okay.
because it tells you what you needed. Like your objective is do this, but it's just you don't know what that means, and you have to play through to figure it out. So it's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yes, Dan, that I do. That's exactly what happened. He said, when I'm given the choice, I always choose absolutely host. That's what I was. It was amazing.
There's another game we played together.
Mm-hmm.
That was Indiana Jones, Adventures in Sands of Time or something. I can't.
Yeah, something like that.
I can't remember the exact title of this one. This was also a surprise. But I'll have a little more to say about this one at the end. But you play as one of the characters from Raiders of the Lost Ark. This is all based upon that movie. And you have in the center of the board, you've got different locations to go to, so you can go to a location and do the action. Very, very simple. And you're basically trying to build a hand of cards to take down the boss. The kicker is, after you do these locations, you roll some dice. And dice will tell you either the boss moves, or you might need to put these gems. And you see on the left side, there's this contraption. This is the really cool part about the game. It is, on the top, it's got a bucket. And in the middle, it's got a sand timer. So what you'll be doing, you'll be putting these gems into the top of the bucket. You just keep doing that. At some point, that bucket's going to get heavy enough where it's going to flip, and it's going to automatically flip the sand timer. And then you have a timed event. And so your goal is to defeat the villain before that sand timer runs out. You can attack the villain before that sand timer flips, but it's kind of hard to do. but you basically build up your hands, and so then when you get to that time phase, you can play out your hands out and defeat them.
Interesting mechanic.
Yeah, and to attack them, you have to do this kind of like, I'll use the term
It's an-
Uno.
Yeah, it's an Uno style thing.
Yeah, so like I can play this if I play a attack card that's red, the next card has to be a red card or a symbol card, right? So you have to chain
Right.
off the color or the symbol as you go
It's
through.
kinda
Not every
yeah,
card's an
it's
attack
exactly-
card.
You got either the city, you have to match the color, or you got to match the symbol, which in Uno would be the number. You know what I mean?
Right.
To be able to
And-
change the color to something else. Or then I think there's even some. Were there wild? No, I don't think there was any wild cards in there.
I think white was white wild.
Oh, that's right. White was wild. You could
Yeah,
play
yeah.
that on anything.
Yeah.
But the white cards, you could play it on anything, but it still would have one of the two. It would have like an aspect you still had to. You could. It's like I could play a white, and it have the instead of like it'd be like a white 6. And
Right.
so now I can play any color on top of that thing, but you still have to play a 6 if you wanted to change it to if you wanted to like match it with something to do more damage.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you have 3 bosses to fight through, and at the end, it gets harder and harder as you go. You also level up the locations as you go through it. There's a lot more other things I haven't described, but yeah, I actually really like this one. However, I will say that I don't think this is one that's going to have a lot of replay value in it.
Okay.
You
Say
can
more.
definitely replay it, but
Hmm.
it doesn't have much
Nothing will
staying power, I'd
change.
say.
Yeah, nothing will change.
Yeah, not a whole lot. You can change location, stuff like that. It's one of those games that I will definitely play if someone asked, but I probably wouldn't necessarily go out and play it too often. So
Yeah.
And I probably wouldn't. I would only own it if I think my family or kids would want to play
Yes.
this.
yes,
I don't think this is something I would ever own.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
but
So
it's a good game.
So this game was handled by top men.
Yes,
Well,
top man.
Am I
Top
missing the reference?
man. Yes, you are, and it saddens
am?
me that you missed this reference. It
man?
saddens me deeply.
Was that in Indiana Jones 4?
Yes, that was in the movie. No, that was in the first movie.
What you don't see is like you can buy these
Oh,
games, but behind them they had a huge warehouse that they had to walk back there with these wooden crates. I'm just kidding. So that's fine, Bairnt. Derrick and I are on the same
He's
page.
so confused by it. He's like, "What am I missing? What is
Top
happening?"
men.
Are you talking about like the government agents or whatever that put
In
the
the-
crate away or put the
Yes,
arc away?
at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, when Harrison Ford asked, like, "Well, what happens to the Holy Grail?" The FBI agent said, "It's being handled by top men." And he
Oh,
said,
top
"Who?"
men.
And he said, "What men? Top men."
Right.
I thought you were talking about somebody wearing a hat.
Wow.
Hotels.
Yeah, top hat man.
Yeah.
Zimbo's got another question about dungeon crawlers, and I know one thing. If you're interested in, I know that one thing that might help is that I think we did a couple episodes in our co-op chat about our top dungeon crawlers and things
We did.
about them that we like about them. I know if you dig back through the live channels feeds, you might find something. But he's kind of saying, "What's the best dungeon crawl in the world?" Now, of course, there's tons of them.
Well,
Uh,
what's the most
all of them.
complicated one?
All
Yeah,
of them.
and that's why I think going back to that topic would help you. I just kind of wrote Madara because it's my favorite one.
Dara's a good one. It's pretty complex. I would say Sword and Sorcery's up there as well for being complicated.
Just all
And it-
dungeon crawlers are top.
Yeah.
All
It
of
depends
them
on what
are
you're looking
unique and
for.
great
If
in
you're
their own
looking
way.
for like character customization and things of that nature, I'd go Madara. If you're looking for just straight up like I want to have a guy that kind of powers up on his own, but he kind of has a strict leveling system where but the story's kind of fun and you get to fight things, then yeah, Sword and Sorcery is great, things like that. So, but I know we did a huge topic on it. I think we actually spanned it over two of our chats. So if you dig back through there, you might find us chatting about it for like 2 whole episodes.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
I hope that helps.
There was
Really, Derek? Derek wanted to he sent me something in Discord, and he wanted to make sure that I completely understood that it wasn't people with top hats.
nice.
You played this on Thursday as well?
No, I just want to bring this up. Animated was there, which is another co-op game which I didn't really do demo or know much about, but want to mention that that's another one we need to take a look at. So,
Oh,
It's
okay.
interesting. But we
Nice.
did play a different game.
Yes,
I
we
was
did.
like, y'all left after I left y'all at midnight. You were still gaming all the way into the wee hours of the morning.
No. This was before your story.
Oh, no.
Oh,
This
This is
was
before we
Thursday
met
when you
up.
were
oh, we're
ghosting
out
us.
of order. Okay, I'm gonna mute. So y'all go ahead and talk about.
No,
Let me know when you get
No,
to
you're good,
Saturday.
you're good.
Let me know when you get to
Just like-
Saturday.
Mute yourself, just like you did with us when you ghosted us for like 90% of Thursday.
I could. Well, you see, Bairnt, what had happened was.
Was that when I finally looked at my phone, I saw Stacy message me, but not the 42 texts from the rest of my people.
I messaged Steve.
No, I think you messaged us while we were probably in the middle of some of these playthroughs.
Probably.
They're not gonna let me live this down, so I just need to take it. All right, y'all. Tell me when you get to Saturday.
Boom, 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 pow, 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 pow. Saturday, when you played Star Trek.
No, this is a Friday. No, Thursday. Just the Thursday. So, Star Trek Cryptic. This was the escape room puzzle game version of it. So this was I played this with Terrence and another gentleman. It was nice, Dan. Nice. Straight out of order, exactly. So this was a puzzle type game. I think we talked to the guy, and it sounded like we were the only group that got through it all. The full first act, it's like 3 different acts. It was really fun. It was really cool. Of course, this is your normal escape room puzzle game. I'm not gonna say a whole lot about it because of spoilers, but I enjoyed it. It's got 3 different ships you can be on for the Enterprise. I had a lot of fun little nods to the show and everything. Good puzzles.
Can I ask you a question about it that maybe if it says it spoils stuff, don't say anything?
Go ahead.
Does it span different genres of the Star Trek universe, or is it like 3 kind of like generic ships that you're on, that you're like kind of working through?
I'm not sure because we only saw the first ship. The first ship seemed generic, like not necessarily like a particular series of the show. So.
Okay. So like you're not on the USS Enterprise
No.
D or B or something like that. Okay.
No, not that I noticed at least. But like I said, I only saw the first one, and I won't say a whole lot because of spoilers. But it was if you like escape room games and if you're a fan of Star Trek, probably worth seeking out. This it does obviously has limited replay due to the nature of the game. So okay, that I think is everything I had to say about Thursday. Sorry, Derrick.
No, it's fine. That's why I was like, I don't want to go out of order for what you had sequenced. So go through.
Like we have a sequence. You're with me.
Oh, I guess I have a couple other things to talk about real quick.
If you had it before, yeah, let me know when we get to Friday, and we'll be.
So then on Saturday.
We'll jump to Saturday, apparently. Okay.
I'm totally kidding.
Yeah, we could go to Friday.
No, if you have more, do more Thursday.
We're gonna talk about it.
Saw a lot of
I played
Thursday.
these other games multiple times throughout the con, so let's save them for later. So.
You sure?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So Friday, I was the early riser.
Why though?
I was the early riser because I was not missing Marvel United. I saw the line that wrapped around the booth when I got to Gen Con, and I was not interested in being in that line. So I woke up at about 5. And I did not get breakfast. I went straight down to the hall, and my hotel was probably about 5 minutes from the con.
Yeah,
so I just
spoiled the fact that we weren't sure if you got it or not.
Well, sorry,
no, I got it. I think last Tuesday spoiled that because I played
it. Thought about that. You guys have all done live streams of it, haven't you?
Yeah. So
never mind.
So I'll
mute myself.
I'll see my way out. So on Friday, I woke up early, went down. The line to Lorcana was halfway, was almost at the Gen Con entrance door.
Dude, if you ever have to stand in line for a game that actually starts outside of the con, shoot me now and tell me it's not worth it.
It was crazy.
Yeah, and we'll talk about all Lorcana in a bit. We'll talk about all Lorcana in a bit. So it was just me and this other guy that was there. So I sat down on one of the couches one of the chairs that was to the side just to kind of take a load off for a little. Then I started seeing more people coming, so I went and stood in line waiting for Steve. Steve, you came about what time? Like 9:30?
Probably
and the
around
hall opens
9-ish,
up at
yeah.
yeah, and the hall opens up at 10. So Steve came at 9, and he had to zigzag his way to get to me in the front of the line because the line was already the mob, I won't even call it the line, was already filling up. So I'm chatting with people. I'm at, I'm chatting, I'm extroverting all over the place. So I'm chatting with everybody, hopping between different groups. And before I know it, like the mob to get into the hall had gotten where you couldn't see the floor anymore. So I turn to talk to Steve, and I see this mob, and I reach up and I take a picture of it, which I'll show at some point. But I then, because of the size of the mob, I took a step back, and the entire mob moved with me. So I was like, oh, okay, this is scary. And it got to the point where I was on the other side of the ribbon or the line that you can't cross because I could not step back across it for how tight everybody was packed. And Steve, you were there, like you saw how dense everybody was packed, waiting to get in the hall around
I
10.
try not to. Let's put it that way.
And
But
I
yes.
was like, okay, well, I don't want these people to say, hey, you can't stand here, and they kick me out. So I'm trying to inch my way back forward to make people like move back, but nobody's moving. The line just keeps getting like more tighter and tighter packed. That I just tell the lady, listen, I'm on this side. I'm sorry, but she was a good sport about it. And when the hall opened, I briskly walked to the Spin Masters booth, and Steve and I was able to pick up Marvel United. I think we were like 9th and 10th in line.
Something like that,
The
yeah.
weird thing about it was that there were already people in line, and it wasn't because they ran or something. They were already in the hall standing in line. And I was asking Steve, like, what's going on here? And so two things happened. One, Steve told me about. One, I found out later, which I think is crappy. So the first thing you said it was called VIGs, very important gamers, where you can pay a ridiculous sum of money for people who have that type of discretionary income to be able to go to get into the hall early and stand in what line you want for your most important thing, or walk around and look before the doors open. If you have that money, sure, and you want, and like I said, you have, I ain't hating on you for doing that, because that's the experience you want. And it's not cheap in any way, shape, or form. It's very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that I found out later that that people told me, and I was kind of annoyed about, was vendors were actually going and standing in line to buy the games and sell it at their booth for a markup.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yes,
I didn't know that.
and I thought that was garbage. But they would either go in the line to get the game that they wanted and then be good, to stand in line really quick early on, buy the game, run back to their booth, or they'd buy it and sell it at their booth at a markup. Like,
interesting.
Like I was like, I'm being a vendor, being able to get in anyway. Nope, I'm not gonna do it. So I'm not gonna stand on my soapbox. I just thought it was crappy.
That's something else.
So we got in line. Whether you were a VIG or a vendor, that was who was in front of us, because when the doors opened, I was in front getting to the Spin Master booth. I was in front getting to the Spin Master booth. So whoever was there was either vendor or VIG gamer.
Yes.
Or VIG person. And so I stood in line behind them, and as Steve came up, I yanked him in line with me, and then we got up to the front and purchased our game. Then we went to, and I think Bairnt was supposed. Bairnt and Colin,
back on the farm.
Bairnt and Colin.
Colin and I decided to. First off, Ryan asked. He missed a little bit of the chunk live. Colin couldn't make it. This is correct. Colin's not feeling well today. He wasn't able to make co-op chat with us today.
Yep. Hopefully he's feeling better soon, because we would love to have him here.
Yeah.
Feel better, Colin. He was supposed to be here. We didn't get him here, but he was with me. But don't worry, almost 90% of the time he was with me. So anything I was doing, he was probably doing at the same time.
That's true.
So,
speaking of which, what were you doing during this time?
What were you doing?
Meanwhile, back on the farm, Colin and I got there the same time Steve did, because we all carpooled in together. We both had the press badge, which really wasn't that big of a deal, but I could get a free cup of coffee. So we went and got a free cup of coffee. he doesn't drink coffee, so he just waited for me. But the interesting thing, I can kind of explain this because it's kind of cool. So in the press room, you can get 3 cups of coffee. They had a few diet sodas that you could kind of drink if you wanted to, and they had like 4 small tables. And they actually had a fair number of the games that were out at the con that you could kind of pick up, open, look at things, see what's inside it, kind of, and read. You could read the rule book if you wanted to. You could do whatever you wanted with these games, which was kind of neat. We didn't really spend a lot of time in there, but that was one of the things you could do with the press badge we had. And so it wasn't like a huge deal to have this, but it was kind of cool at least to get a free cup of coffee. So I got a free cup of coffee. We walked, and we're trying to find out where this booth is that we're supposed to get this Sky
Team.
Yep. Sky Team.
Because so they knew I went to this game, and I wasn't able to get it, right?
How good this is. So we're going to try to get Sky Team. Now, remember how we got to Gen Con? We failed, right? We failed to get to Gen Con, directionally challenged. So we're looking for this booth.
Here's the worst thing about it. Like, why did I ask the 2 directionally challenged people to help me navigate and find
we should have split them up. We should have split them up. We should have split them up.
We should have split them up.
This year. Well, Colin and I are looking for this like booth. Like, well, I think so. We're trying to look it up. Oh, Sky Team Games is at this booth, 239. Oh, okay, 239. So we're trying to figure out where this booth is. And all of a sudden, like, one guy's trying to help us. He's like, oh, I think it's next to this one. So when you get in there, just look for this big giant panda. Oh, okay, cool. We'll look for this big giant panda. And he's like, I think you're going to want to be on the doors over there because it's over on that side. Oh, okay. So we walk over there. We're not being pushed through the line behind the tape like somebody we know. We're like probably just kind of in the middle of the mob, just kind of hanging out, just chit chatting. And the doors open and we're like, oh, okay, we'll go. Because I would like to preface this. These 2 did say, or Steve told me the day before, it's probably not the biggest deal you get there right away because it took a while for it to sell out. So I think you should be okay. That was a quote.
I did say that.
We're walking.
What did you learn? What did you learn?
We're walking towards the booth. And Colin's like, okay, so now where is this booth? I go, I think we're supposed to look for a panda. So we're looking for this panda. We kind of find the panda. We're looking around like, I'm not sure if this is really weird. Then all of a sudden we think about it. Wait, didn't we see it way over there? So we're on the complete opposite end of where this stupid game is supposed to be. So now we're kind of booking it the best we can book, that you can book a book. And here we go. We're walking real fast. We get there and we see the booth and then we see the line and the line. You know, it wraps around. You were talking about, I think everybody that got Marvel United the day before stood in this line the next day.
maybe.
Because we were wrapped all the way over to the eBay thing. We're standing there for about 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes. And Colin and I are talking to each other kind of, then we're like, dude, are we ever going to get this game? I don't know, man. And the line hasn't moved. We're like, I feel like we failed. We're done. And so we just stepped out of the line and walked off. And we text these guys, sorry guys, we failed you. It was so bad.
That line was insane. I think after we got ours, we headed over to the line. We saw how bad it was, and we're like, yeah, we're not.
Yeah, it's not.
This is a wash. And that's what it was. It wasn't as important. That was one where it was a nice to have.
Yeah.
I got my had to have.
The more it actually seemed like a really cool game. And
it is a cool game.
Yeah. But again, it's just, what do you want to get out of the con? Do you want to stand in a line that's maybe going to take you 2.5 hours to get a game? Or in Lacana's instance, like 8.5 hours to get a game? Or do you just want to
enjoy the con?
Get that game like maybe down the line when it comes to normal release schedules and things like that, and have a better chance at through Amazon or whatever affiliate you want to try to buy your games from your local gaming store, things of that nature. And so that's where we decided on. You guys have decided on that. And a lot of the games at the con, Colin and I had decided that it was going in. We weren't going to try to stand in line. We weren't going to try to push for something. If the game was there, we were going to pick it up.
Yeah, there was a lot of reason there. I ran into, so Friday was full, was like the hall was packed like it was Saturday, like it was the main event, right? And it was just Friday, and it was hard to move. Not everybody, but a large swath of people had one of those gaming backpacks, the big, huge, honking things they're walking with, and they were slamming into people. And
I don't know what's worse, that or a stroller.
Oh yes,
Strollers,
yeah. There were people who, they're like, hey, it's we brought our babies, and so they had the strollers, so they were pushing the strollers through and knocking into people's Achilles and
my favorite part about
into people, and it was crazy.
Is when you walk by the person who has now put the baby on their like front torso and has filled the stroller with games.
Yep.
And is running into you with them.
Yeah.
Like, seriously?
Yeah.
What's worse, the big backpack or the stroller full of games?
And as we were walking around, like I saw other content creators. I ran into Jeremy Howard, who was pretty cool, and he had a huge what do you call that?
Entourage.
Entourage.
Entourage. That's amazing.
No, he had a huge he had a pull wagon full of games.
Oh,
He pulled this
awesome.
wagon full of games, and it was just a lot of people that were in a very it's supposed to be big but tight space.
Right.
And it was truly the first well, Thursday was the first full day, but it was the first full day I was there. And so everybody's knocking around, everybody's moving it to finally where I think like this was where Bairnt messaged me and he's like, "Where are you? I want to come hang out." And I said, I brought my camera. So I brought if you saw in that other video, that was my first streaming camera that I had, and I brought that camera. And I started all the way at one end, and I just started walking up and down.
You started over at the Kingdom Death booth, pretty much.
Yeah, so I started the Kingdom Death booth, and I started just taking pictures and walking up and down the aisles. And so I was like, I'm at 300 up the aisle. I'm at 299.
3,000.
3,000. And then I was like, okay, then I'm at the next aisle, 2,900.
So
then I'm at 28. So I'm just
3,000.
messaging Bairnt saying I'm at 3,000.
No,
2,900. I'm at 2,800.
I'm on my way to 3,000. I'll be there very soon. I get there at Kingdom Death booth. I go, I'm at the Kingdom Death booth. Oh, I'm at 2,900. Okay, now you're at 2,900. And I'm walking all the way down the 2,900 row, and I walk all the way back up the 2,900 row, and I go, I walk 2,900 row. I'm back at Kingdom Death booth. I'm at 2,800. Okay, so now I'm walking to 2,800. I'm kind of walking, looking for Derrick. He's like 7'4". You think I'd see him? I can't find him. And so then I finally text again. I'm back at the Kingdom Death booth. I can't find you. I'm over it. I have to do 2 more things. I'll come that way. I'm like, fail.
I will see you later.
I will see you later. That's too bad.
And so I get about to the 1500s when I was like, okay, I need a break. And I head outside. I met up with Stacy, who was at the 1500 one, and we go out to the beer garden eating area where the sun seems to have brought itself down to the lowest point that it can, hovering over the con.
It's right on top of us.
Yeah, it was hovering right over the convention center, letting out all its heat outside, turning the concrete to lava. And so we go outside trying to look for food, but by this time all the food trucks have kind of, either sold out and moved on, or they're selling stuff that I'm not interested in. So I grab a drink and I'm sitting over in the shade. This guy comes up to me and he says, "Kanji, right?" And I was like, "Hey, yeah, what's going on?" And so he's like, "I'm loving your content. I've got to meet Bairnt."
No way.
That's what he said. That is what he
baloney.
said to me. That is what he said to me. He was like, "I have to meet Bairnt." I was like, "I'm never gonna thank you for this." I want to take a picture with you. And I took a picture with him, and I was like, I'm not gonna let Bairnt let this down.
I don't think I ever met him. I don't think.
I don't know. I don't know if he did, but he came up, so he recognized me. It must have been from these co-op chats, but he recognized me, and then he was like, he's looking forward to meeting you, and I was like, thank you for this gift.
That's why I wore my hat, like the incognito. That's why I wore my hat. Nobody could find me.
So, but I took a picture of him, and then he went off into the con and whatnot. But it was a good time. I'm trying to remember what else I did Friday.
So
I know what I did.
Bairnt, while Bairnt was with us, actually, we were at the event hall.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's why while you were out there hanging out and sweating, I guess, in the sun, we
profusely,
yeah, exactly. We had a Lord of the Rings event, living card game event. So this was really fun because it was a lot of the One Stop crew there. It was, let's see, yeah, we had 2 games. It was one of those epic games. So everyone's working together, but we sat next to each other. It was Colin, Bairnt, and Terrence.
Yes.
On
Colin,
one
Bairnt,
side, right
Derrick,
here.
and
This
Dan.
picture.
I think Dan played with us.
Dan. Oh yes, yes, he did. Yep. And then I sat next to you, and it was Peter, Jerry, and I.
Yeah, you and I switched spots because we realized it was going to be Peter, myself, and Jerry playing together, and we decided that was a bad idea because there was no veterans on that team.
Right.
That was the deal.
But yeah, this was the dreadnought scenario, so taking down a really big floating naval ship, which is somewhat analogous to the blob scenario in Arkham, I guess. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it was long but fun. Enjoyed it. Though I will make a point that it wasn't well organized, unfortunately, so it
No.
kind of brought the experience down.
Quite a bit.
Unfortunately, it started off on a bad note just because even Fantasy Flight didn't know what tables they had until
boy.
like 5 minutes before it started. So they had no time to prepare anything.
Oh boy.
He just brought the box of everything over and started dishing everything out and like dividing it
right.
for himself. Then he started giving out the different things to the different players, and
then there was I think only our two groups were veterans of the game. Everyone else was new.
So they had to teach everybody else how to play.
Everyone else. So there was like a bunch of different groups. So it took probably like 40 minutes before we started.
Oh, so y'all didn't have enough time. Yeah, with the blob scenario, they had
to the thing out of the water.
Oh, nice.
We
nice.
sunk that ship.
We did.
Like,
we did win.
The best game of Battleship we ever did.
They with the blob scenario, they had everything pretty much set up. What was funny during that scenario though, and I'll say Janet was MVP of the tank. Yes, there's a tank in that game.
Yeah, that was fun.
But what was funny about that scenario is that the designer was the one that was running it.
Yeah,
and so he's walking up and down the aisles just looking at everybody, and he comes over to our table and he throws down this random threat card. He's like, "Sorry, Derrick, here you go." Yep. And he literally like slams, and so I get attacked by this blob out of nowhere, because I was by myself. And so that was fun, but I didn't realize that this dreadnought scenario was so chaotic.
Yeah, no, he did the same thing for our blob. He's like, "Oh, you guys are doing okay. Here, I think you need this."
Yeah.
Dad?
And I had I had the Bairnt, I have a plan. I had it all sorted out what I was going to do when he came over and did it.
Yeah, this one's a little more chaotic, but it was run again by the designer of the thing, which is really cool. But he was really soft-spoken too, so it was kind of hard to hear what he was saying. And I think he started figuring out halfway through, it's like, okay, so you guys are the only ones that really know what you're doing here. The rest of them kind of think I'll just because there's two right now in Lord of the Rings, the living card game. There's kind of two factions. There's people that had come from the beginning that have everything, have played through everything, but right now they're re-releasing all the stuff.
Yeah,
there's a lot of really newer people that are getting into the game and really starting to understand it and coming alive into this game, which is a cool thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like almost a vitalization of it, which is really cool. But in a specific situation like this, you have these veterans that are sitting there going, "Okay, we're all set to do this, man. What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for?" And it's like these guys have never played before. These groups only played a couple times. Like, oh, okay, so we'll wait. I mean, we're patient.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like we don't have anything to talk about. We haven't seen each other in ages, so we sat there and chit chatted for a while. But then when we started to play, we realized that. I mean, even when we finally sunk it, one of the groups goes like, "Thank you so much for winning. We didn't do any damage to that."
It's tough. It's a tough scenario, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, of course, Lord of the Rings is a lot more deck build heavy than Arkham is, in a sense. So if people haven't played a lot before and they don't have a huge card pool to pull from, and you're pulling a harder scenario onto people, it can be pretty difficult at times.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
So yeah, we got through it.
Nice.
Cool. So I think that was
Friday at the convention.
Yeah,
at the convention. I went and Stacy took me to this pizza place that was her favorite pizza place, and I had pizza there, and it was amazing pizza, which was what y'all had when we get to that the next day.
Ooh.
That's funny because we went to a pizza place on Friday as well. We went to a brick fire oven pizza place.
Yes, which is good.
Nice.
Really good.
We were the only people there because we had a car, so we drove out from the con. And kind of got a pizza place that were next to our house. We had pizza there, and then we actually decided to take a recharge day at night, where I felt bad because that's the time that Matthew Rose messaged me and said, like, "Hey man, what are you doing?" And I'm like, I'm taking a recharge day. I'm super sorry, but we're
Yeah.
gonna do games all day Saturday.
Tomorrow was the big day.
So
Yeah,
that was what we were thinking. We thought, why don't we take a recharge day? We'll go home, we'll kind of relax, and just kind of hang out for a little while, and then go to sleep a little earlier so we can actually get up early enough to get gaming and really have a fun day going all the way into the night playing games. That was kind of our...
So I didn't pull an all-nighter that one either. I went to bed. I probably went to bed around 11 or so.
Yeah, we played this.
Yep, so we played Kinfire together, which was a lot of fun, actually. We really
mine's on the way. It's coming Friday.
I was super impressed by this. Super impressed.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I stopped by the so when I first I'll back up as well. When I first got there, I went to Spin Masters like Steve did and was like, yeah, no. And then I went over and I found Foreteller, and I chatted with Nicole and the team and stuff, and so I was just kind of chatting with them, and the Kinfire people were there as well. And so I was looking at it and I was like, okay, this I wanted to back the Kickstarter. I didn't back the Kickstarter because I just wasn't sure. There, they had celebrities from I forgot the name of the channel. It was Becca.
I know you're talking about.
I forgot the name of the
Sundry?
channel. Geek and Sundry. Geek and Sundry.
Yeah.
So that they did like this playthrough with professional voice actors, and they were acting out scenes and things. So I was like, okay, I don't know what this game is about because I'm busy watching this and not the game itself. So I was like, and I didn't back it. And I know Bairnt said he backed it, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait until hear what Bairnt says about it to see if it's cool. But it came in and you started reading the rule book before Gen Con, so you didn't get a chance to record your video yet. So I got to the booth and I actually got to see the game sans voice acting talent and look at it, and I was like, oh, okay. And that's where I purchased it there.
Nice.
And it came, I was like, okay, I need the Foreteller audio if I'm going to be doing this. And so I got that as well added on and paid for it at Gen Con and had it shipped. So it's going to be arriving this Friday, to where I will be throwing that in the rotation to play of the other stuff that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I was, when I originally backed it, Geek and Sundry thing is what you're talking about. They had another playthrough on there, which I was able to watch, and it's Monica and Naveen from, I'm really sorry, I forgot the name of the channel. I think they're associated with, who are they associated with? I think they're part of a group, kind of like we have the One Stop group.
Is it
like
Good Time Society?
Is it something?
Okay.
Is the name of their channel, like before you play it or something? I forget.
You're talking about Watch It Play, the Watch It Play group.
Watch It Play. Maybe they're part of the Watch It Play group.
Yeah, they are with Rodney Smith. They're part of part of that group as Watch It Play. Yeah.
Yep. They did a playthrough of it, and then when I watched that playthrough on the Kickstarter, I was like, okay, now I'm sold.
Okay.
Because this is cool.
Okay.
And so it was so that's what got me to do the Kickstarter for it. So,
okay.
Yeah. And I'm glad you actually got a copy of it, Derrick. That's amazing.
Yeah, and I started watching your video that you put out just recently, I believe yesterday.
I did.
You put out your first video of Kinfire, and I started watching. And I was like, oh, I'm so happy I grabbed this, snagged this at Gen Con, because
there's 3 more videos coming.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. So this is gonna hit the table for me too, and hit the stream as well. This looked, you did a great job with it.
I'll make sure to taunt you while you're playing.
As usual.
Yes.
Yeah, we played this one. We played this one quite a bit, actually. It was quite fun. The only thing I didn't quite care for is initiative system, and we'll probably talk about that more later. But
okay.
But if you house rule that, the rest of the game's awesome. So
cool.
We were playing with one wrong rule, Steve, but that's okay.
What's the
end of the world?
Oh.
Okay. So in the first battle, one of the monster has an ability that does damage, and then it assesses who it's going to attack, like retarget. Because there's a target token that kind of moves around. I misunderstood that and thought whenever the monster attacks, you redistribute that token. It's only on that attack.
Gotcha.
And so if you're fighting another group of monsters, they might not have that. They're just going to have a focus token on what you're actually, the person that's attacking. And then the way that you're going to redistribute that focus token is the players themselves are going to try to play cards to get that thing to move around, as opposed to when the monster attacks. So we kind of did that a little wrong, Steve.
That's okay.
But it still worked out. We had a great time. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, cool.
Like we've always said, if you get a rule wrong, It doesn't matter as long as you're still having fun.
That's right.
That's
So
the
yeah,
game.
we were at the Airbnb playing this one and some other games as well.
This is when we played the
But
Matrix together. Was that night too?
yes, and this I need to talk about a little bit because I feel real bad about this. So we met Thursday night in the hall to play games as One Stop, as a bunch of people. We One Stop because basically at 6 p.m. is when the vendor hall closes, and generally there's some open tables you can snag. Not all the tables are open, but there's a few of them in the event hall. And so we grabbed a table. We played some games Thursday night. Friday night, like I said, we went back to Airbnb, not knowing that I guess somewhere it was communicated that there was supposed to be a one stop big group gathering, so people can meet. And unfortunately, Colin, Bairnt, and I were not there because we didn't know about it. And I don't think Mike made it there either. So unfortunately, that was a failure, and I feel real bad about that. So apologize to anyone who's there. I'm gonna make sure that doesn't happen again. So
Yeah, one of the things I also, which was very important, as because I'm spooling back through Friday in my head, and one of the things that did happen that I went to, was I went to a Black Indigenous People of Color event on Friday. So this was the first year that Gen Con actually had had events for minorities, like minority focused, and it wasn't I want to level set here because a lot of I saw one of my friends catching a lot of heat on Twitter, and some really nasty stuff was said during that time. So I'm going to let you know what it's about, and if you got a problem with that, you can talk to me instead of trying to tear her down. So basically what it was, so Gen Con kind of always tries to do this inclusive thing and be inclusive, but it's difficult, right? There's a lot of unconscious bias, and there's a lot of things that go on that they can't catch. It's a big event. So what they decided to do was kind of reach out to some DEI individuals and try to find a way to bridge that gap. And to do that, they were like, okay, well, if people are feeling overwhelmed, we usually have this quiet space that anybody could go to. And what they did in turn as well was that they created this BIPOC lounge, which was a smaller room, but it's an area where if any minority was like, I'm inundated, I'm overwhelmed, I can't, I'm having feelings about something, or I'm having those things that are go, we have this area where you can go and you can be in your safe space. And I'm going to take over here for a second, Steve, so please forgive me, but I want people to understand that in the US, a lot of people in this community, a lot of people are inclusive, and they are very welcoming and open, and not a problem. The problem is that the playing field isn't level ever. And so for women, it's not level. For any type of minority, is not level. So there are times where minorities always feel like we're in threat. And so having a space where you can go, that's not the person who it's not person Bob or Jane or Kim or anybody that makes us feel in threat. It's just kind of like that societal thing that they created this lounge to just kind of say, you can be away from that too and be in your own space and quiet. And so they created this BIPOC lounge, right? To where anyone of color, or any minority, can go in there and decompress themselves before stepping back into the world. I wasn't able to make it to that, but they also created events like, okay, well, you are a minority and you're a content creator, you're a minority, you're in a content creator space, and you want to meet other minorities in the content creator space that you don't know exist, you don't know how to reach out to, you don't know how to get to, you might be apprehensive about doing it, that we're going to host this event where where all of you can come meet and talk about your experience, talk about how to connect to each other and how to network and all these other things. So they had that event. That's what I went to. And in that event, it was run by Raul, who is part of Rado's channel. And so he's there. Gen Cam Plays Games was there as well as a bunch of really cool people who came to the event. And we just sat around a table and we just talked. And it was, the questions that were asked were, you know, what are the difficulties that we run into as minority content creators? What are some of the solutions that we've used to try to offset that difficulty? How has your experience tailored how you've created your content? Like we're talking about some hardcore topics. And so we're sitting there and we're in this space where we feel safe enough to share our experiences, and we're sharing our experiences around the table and talking about how we can, what can we do as minorities in the community to make it more inclusive to minorities outside of the community. I mean, growing up, because I was a sporty, right? I did not see board gaming until I was older, and there are people, I got to tell you, by and large, the board gaming space for and I'll just talk about me, right? The board gaming space is for Black people. It's very minimal. It's not a lot of us in it. So it would be great if there were more. And so it was talking about how can we do this? How can we make it more, hey, come over here. These people are amazing. This community is amazing. They are super welcoming. They're not going to judge you for whoever you are. Come over here, hang out. Let's play some games together. Let's forget all that crap that the world has thrown at us. Hey, meet Bairnt. Hey, meet Steve. Hang out, play some board games. They're super amazing people. And we were talking about, like, how can we do that? What can we do to get more into the space to be able to make this community grow and be large? That was the discussion of the event. As soon as that event ended, we a few of us gathered together. We went and got dinner and we hung out, we chatted and had a good time. And one of the content creators who was there posted, hey, I had a really great time at this BIPOC event, and this BIPOC lounge is cool. And they posted it on, it's not called Twitter anymore, whatever it's called, I don't care. So but they posted it on the artist formerly known as Twitter,
the Elon Musk channel, right? Isn't that the one?
Yeah. And all they got back was hate. I mean, I'm not talking about hate
Really?
like, oh my God. I'm not talking about hate like, oh, you terrible person, you. Stuff like, Martin Luther King would be rolling in his grave, and they got death threats, and they got all this visceral, nasty crap.
That's
about
out of control.
It was the worst of the internet that piled onto them, and they tried to stay positive and be like, well, sorry you didn't like it, well, thanks for the bump, yep, thanks for the analytics, whatever, and just kept going. But it got nastier and nastier and nastier to where they had to pull the conversation.
Jeez.
Like, I want you to think about that for a second, right?
That's terrible.
But I want you to think about that for a second. What message is being sent? I went to an event that is starting to be more inclusive and more diverse, that there's a space that, for my experience, that is happening. You don't believe my experience, so you can't sympathize my experience and sit with me in my experience. Instead, you tell me you gaslight me racially and tell me how I'm wrong for partaking in this. Not me, because I had to let them have it, but partaking in this event. And you show me everything that I feared and everything that I didn't like. You showed me that it's true. And so I think that anyway, I'll step back from it. I just wanted to, I think that hit me, and that's the reason why I'm sharing it here. I saw a lot of people kind of pop off, and I'm sorry if this is something that you didn't come to hear.
No, actually, it doesn't matter if you'll pop off because this is important to hear.
Yeah, and so it affected me, and that's the reason why I'm sharing it here today. It affected me because I always talk about this community as being inclusive, being diverse, and being and trying to be as equitable as possible when it comes to not caring about that stuff. We're here to play board games. Like, that's what people always say. We're here to play board games. I don't care where you're from. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care who you are. I don't care any of that stuff. When we come to the table, we are equal.
Mhm.
Like, that is why that's what keeps me here, right? And to see that, I mean, I'm already starting to tear up. I'm already starting to tear up about it. But to see that hurt, right? It hurt because it's like, I understand that garbage exists in the world. I understand that stuff. And I have friends like Steve and like Bairnt because I know I can take that armor off around them. I could talk to them about this stuff, and as I'm more embedding myself in the community, I find that I wear that armor less whenever I'm gaming and doing stuff. And that, to me, said, you can't do that. Put the armor on. You are not allowed to be normal in this space. And that hurt. Anyway. Ooh. Anyway,
Getting real this morning.
I really appreciate it for sharing that.
Yeah, thanks, Derrick. That was
a lot of the times we don't see some of that because, I mean, it's that sucks. I'm sorry, that's terrible.
Well, I don't want it to be, it's because it wasn't,
like you said, it's not everyone out there. It's
right. It's not everybody.
It's sad to see some of that come through, even in a place that you think it continues to probably be, hopefully, more accepting and more.
And that's the thing. It's not everybody. I don't want people to think, oh, everybody's doing this. It's not everybody, but it was just nasty to see. And I think that's what struck me. And I felt I could empathize and relate with them for what happened with that. And so anyway, I'm sorry to bring down mood. Like I said, I'm sorry people popped off because of it, because I know y'all are here to hear about Gen Con. So
that's okay. Then we all had pizza.
Then we all had pizza. Yeah, then we all had pizza.
No. Thanks for sharing that, Derrick. That was a good message to share.
And then I went.
Was that Friday?
That was Friday.
That was Friday.
That was
Fridays.
Yeah, so let me jump in on Saturday. So I've been to Gen Con a number of times, and Saturday is always the busiest day of the con.
Yes.
And unlike Derrick, I am an introvert. So I like to reserve Saturday as a day to be at the con, but pull myself away from the chaos and kind of like I don't know, recharge a bit. And so every year I tend to always go to, there's a hotel called the JW Marriott, and they have a giant hall that's open for open gaming, first come first serve, sit down at a table, and I just play games all day Saturday. And so that's what we did. So Derrick was awesome, got there super early. And we decided
super early.
Yes, he was the only one in the room when we got there.
He was.
What was funny was Steve messaged me and he was like, "Hey, just grab some tables for us. I take this picture. The hall is empty." So I was like, "Yeah, we're good. We're good."
It's normally pretty easy early on to find tables, but later on it does fill up for sure.
Yeah,
and we did see that.
And it did. Yeah.
Yeah, we did see that. But anyway, so we
yes. I took that picture of y'all on my camera.
That's awesome. I don't remember that picture. That's amazing.
Yeah, so it's early on, but we were just hanging out the whole day, playing games, meeting with people, and out of all the days at being Gen Con, this was my favorite day, hands down, because I got to sit down and engage with people, which is honestly the whole reason.
It wasn't just us playing games. Like, I posted on my feed that, like, hey, we're all going to be here playing. I put that on Meet Me at the Table. I know One Stop Steve shouted out saying, hey, we're all going to be at this place. So it was cool to see some of the people that we've met in chat. Like Dan was there, for example. Dan Roberts was there. It was super cool to meet him. I've never met him before, so I mean, it was awesome to actually hang out. And it was so good to see Matthew Rose was there. Nick was there. I mean, all these Stacy came through for a little while. I mean, it was super cool to see all these people. I mean, and I'm not naming everybody. I know there was others that came through as well. I apologize, but it was super fun. That like Steve said, this is like probably one of my favorite games. Oh my God, Steve, you're amazing.
This was amazing, man. And Dad's right. He's like, let's get to the part where Derrick gave me a hug lasting well past social norms. We went past 5 Mississippi on that hug. Okay,
that's hilarious.
Because my going thing is there are 3 jokesters that pop up in my chat or over on Rob's gaming table chat or on any of our chats. They pop in from time to time, and that's Bob Chapman, Brian Walbridge, and Dan Roberts. And when these 3, when their powers combine in one stream, just ignore chat. So it was just like, so what, I met Bob and I met Brian at UK Game Expo, right? I met them, so that was 2 of the 3, and this Gen Con was to meet the third of the 3 of the trio. And so when I met Dan, he and I came in and we did the biggest hug, and I was like, oh my God, it's so good to see you, man.
I didn't even recognize him when I first saw him. I met him in the vendor hall. He tracked me down, and he's like, dude, and I was like, what? Look, and he pointed to his name tag, but I thought he was pointing to his shirt. I'm like, oh my gosh, you got a Mage Knight shirt. That's really cool. And then it's like 3 points to the name tag. I'm like, oh my God, it's Dan.
So cool meeting all these people. So
and so it was cool. We met so many people. Matt F, Sarah B, Amanda, Janet, Stacy, Rob and Mel were there from Rob's gaming table. They were playing Lorcana and having a good time doing that.
Like I said, we're gonna name a lot of people.
There's a lot of people to name that came. A lot of people came.
But it was super fun to see all these people. Now, while they were playing games, I'm going to cut Derrick off because sadly, I only got about 15 minutes at the most left. I got to go.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So while they were doing this, I actually got to do something I've been really looking forward to at Gen Con. And that was I got to go to that dungeon thing. What was it called?
True Dungeon.
True Dungeon. I was able to do True Dungeon. So excited, I can't remember the name. True Dungeon was absolutely awesome. And I got to do it with Peter and Jerry from the One Stop Co-op Shop guys. And I'd never done this thing before. It was kind of like a 7 room escape room and also fighting like monsters and things like that. And it was super fun. You got to lay out all these little things to like make what weapons and armor you're going to bring into the dungeon that you're going to do. And there's like these different puzzles you have to solve. And there's also like there's these different combats and things. And you could choose to like either cast spells. If you do that, you have to like memorize the way different patterns of things go and things of this nature. So it's really, I'd never done this before. And so I think Jerry said it best afterwards when somebody said, what did you think? He said something like, had a blast with Peter and Bairnt, or with a little pricey, but I would do it again, kind of thing. And so, and a lot of it I think has to come down to, sadly, with the group you have. If you can actually get a group of everybody you know, that has to be phenomenal. We were with just the 3 of us. Then we had a group of 4 with us and a group of 2. So it's kind of like this 3 different little groups together. But none of them had ever done it before. So not necessarily, they'd never done this dungeon. They change it every like so often, like maybe every 6 months, every year, something like that. They change the dungeon that comes, so you don't know what it is. But sometimes people like do know it, and they'll come back again to play it again and again, and they'll just run through the puzzles like it's nothing. And that's the fun. Is trying to figure out those puzzles. So we had never done it before, all of us.
So if we're Bairnt, if we're running short, which we've definitely gone over, which we can't do. Let's go, Steve. If you want to skip, and let's go ahead and go to our best stuff, so we can catch it before Bairnt has to head.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's True Dungeon. Lots of fun.
Yeah. So I mean, this has been going on super long. We played a lot of games.
Can keep going together after I take off. That's not a big deal.
Yeah, met a lot of cool people. Alex and Nick in this one picture, for example. I do want to do a call out though. Derrick is a class act, and he was awesome. And him and Stacy went out and brought this pizza for everyone back Saturday, and so
Yes.
That gesture was so nice because we're here playing games, and here he comes, dying from the heat because it's super hot. Brings these pizzas and hey, everyone just help yourself. It was amazing. I loved it.
Yeah, Stacy and I were just both like, "Hey, everybody's hungry. Hey, pizza." And so she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm not gonna say no to pizza." And so we both were like, "Okay, let's go to this place and get it."
Yep.
And we just went because we love everybody, right? We love you guys. We love the community. We love all that stuff. So we were just like, "Okay, everybody's gaming. We don't want to break that up. Let's just go grab some food." And we went down there, got the pizza, came back, and just had a good time. So it's to me, it's no thanks needed. This is what friends do.
Yep. It was so much fun. Yeah, Stacy's in that picture right there, actually, and Dan. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, we played a lot of games. We played Forbidden Jungle. We played Nemesis, which was a hilarious game of Nemesis.
That was so good. I'm bringing that next year too.
I wish we had time to tell that story.
Yeah, we played Marvel United, of course, and
Yeah.
we played so many games. It was a blast. So,
Yeah.
but I know we're running over on time. I want to wrap this up, and
Yep.
I want to wrap this up with two things. I'll go through and say, what was your experience of the con, and then what is your game of the con? So those two things that stood out for you. So, start with you, Bairnt. What's your experience of the con?
What was your best experience? Your best
Loved
experience?
to meet all, I think my best experience was meeting all the people that I hadn't met before. That was my favorite thing, and being able to play games with them. Getting games at the con isn't something. I only left with 3 games, and they were actually kid games and a game for my wife. So it wasn't like I was going there to buy games. I was going there to see people play games and have a fun time with them. So that was what I did, and that was the best part of the con. The part I didn't like about the con was not be able to walk the hall with Derrick. So next year that's going to happen because he ghosted me 2 days in a row, and not going to let him do that again. I'm actually probably going to be like the guy when he comes off the airplane holding up the sign that says Derrick right here, right here, right here. So,
but can you find your way to the airport?
I might miss him then. Yeah, those are probably my 2 things. The one thing I didn't like was not be able to hang out as much with Derrick and be able to walk the con with him, because he's such a wealth of knowledge when it comes to games, and he's such a wealth of knowledge when it comes to like the people that design the games and who know all about them. Like I don't know a lot of that stuff, so it's really cool to get that insider information, and because he really digs into these games, he knows these games, he knows who designs them, he knows how they play, and so it'd be really cool. Because no offense, I walked the entire hall with Colin from like I think it was like 12:30 until it closed at 5 o'clock, and we walked through every single part, and we had a great time. But like a lot of times we're like on our phone going like, okay, what the heck is this game, like looking it up on like the Game Boy thing. And then sadly there's a few times I feel really bad about this, but like I'll talk to a person, be like, oh, so she's like, oh, do you want to know about this game? I'd love to know about this game. Okay, well, it's a 4X game, and all of a sudden my brain just goes meh. Why did I ask this person? She's gonna give me a spiel about it for like the next 2 minutes, and I'm not gonna care because she said the word 4X. So I felt really bad, and so like Colin's like, that's why I don't do that. I just look it up on Board Game Geek on my phone. Like, oh, that's just bad.
So that
anyway,
was
those are my highs and lows. Highs and lows. That was my highs and lows.
And what was the game? Yeah, what was your best game?
Was my favorite game was Kinfire that I played, and my other second favorite game was Nemesis. Okay. Even though it's been old, I mean, that I have to admit was an absolute laugh riot time. That was so good. It was a long game, but the whole time we're all engaged, laughing, and for some reason it worked really well as a drop-in, drop-out game. Like people were coming in, coming out, and we'd just be like, "You're that guy now. Sit down and just play your cards and move around and kill things and run into things." It was super fun. Yeah. Do you want to talk faster? I can talk really fast if you want me to go.
So my best experience of the con was all of Saturday. All of Saturday was just amazing. Being in the hall with everybody, meeting everybody, people who I didn't see on Thursday or Friday came to the hall on Saturday, hung out, played Hadrian's Wall, played Nemesis, like you said, played Marvel United. The experience, I call it an experience, of going and get pizza because it was so hot. But the experience of going to get pizza and coming back, just the whole vibe of Saturday, all of it, because not only, and we didn't get to these pictures and we probably can't at this time, but not only after the gaming hall where we played games with everybody, Bairnt, Steve, Zach came, myself, Stacy, we all went to a Foreteller event with live music.
We saw a rock concert.
We saw a
How
rock
did you get to
concert,
a rock
live
concert at
music.
Gen
We
Con?
went
That
there.
is so awesome.
So we went to a foreteller event. We got to see a live concert in effect, and had some drinks to cool off from the day, and then just kind of just hung out with the entire foreteller crew. They all came. They knew Steve. They were like, "Hey, you interviewed me once." Thomas was like, "Hey, you interviewed me once," and so
See, I'm not the one that knows everybody. Come on.
yeah, and Nate and just the whole foreteller crew was there throwing this event, and it was incredible and a blast. And so all of Saturday was just beyond amazing to me, and I loved every minute of it. My favorite game of the convention was Marvel United. That was the game I set in my mind as I'm going to pick up, and I got it, and we're good. So what about you, Steve?
I think we have very similar answers across all of us. Because, like, what's the reason I go to Gen Con? The main reason I go is to meet people, honestly. I love so much putting a face to a name, right? Because I see you guys on chat. You guys are still here on chat with us. And being able to meet you face to face was amazing. That's why I wanted to get out of Gen Con. I'm so happy I met so many of you there. It was so awesome. Yeah. Stacy, for example, you were there. It was so awesome meeting you and everyone else. I loved it. So that is definitely my experience at the con. And like you said, Saturday, because of the environment, it was so nice to just have one spot. Would be here all day. Show up when you want to. People came and went, and we met people. It was amazing. I loved that.
Mm-hmm.
Game of the con for me, definitely was Spartageddon for sure.
Marvel United.
I mean, it's Marvel United. Like, it's my most hype one. I was really excited for it. And I was really happy to see the implementations on it.
Yeah.
Derrick and I did our separate chat of our experience of that one, our expectation for season 3. So we hear more details about that. You can check that out. But yeah, absolutely. That was it. There was a lot of other really fun games on there. Like Forbidden Jungle, I'll do as a quick mention. The best Forbidden game. Definitely. I really, really enjoyed that one. A lot of fun. A lot of really great games too. But
yeah. And I want to point out that as we talk about walking the hall and me not ducking Bairnt by accident and not checking my messages, as we talk about those things and forgive each other, we one of the things that come up for all of us is the fun that we had was together.
yes,
The day that we said we had the most incredible time was when we were all together. And I'm not talking about just me, Stephen, Bairnt. All of us were together on Saturday, playing games, laughing, having a good time, and that's the heart of this, right? Where we could just hang out and have fun together, and we all loved Saturday because you all were there, right? We got to meet each other, but you all were there as well, and it was fantastic.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So I hope to do it again next year, as always. And then if you guys are able to make it out to convention, and honestly, if you ever see us randomly, like who knows where, come say hi, because we all love meeting you guys out there. So.
Yes, don't be afraid. I mean, I ran into the dungeon dudes and I was like, oh, I better not talk to them. They're like, so no. And I thought about them like, if I were walking the halls and somebody knew me, I would love for them to come up and say hi. So like, I was like, oh, I'm going to get a picture with them. I was like, yeah, sure, that'd be great. So, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I always feel like until I got into this like content thing, I was always like, oh, I don't know if I want to like put a comment on the video and stuff because I don't know and stuff like this. So, but anyway, it's so much fun to actually have people come up and say hi and like do things like that. So don't be afraid. Anytime I could be in the airport, like eating a cinnamon roll, and come say hi.
Yep, exactly.
I plan to do that at that exact moment.
I love cinnamon roll. If you see me in the airport, buy me a cinnamon roll from Cinnabon.
Cinnabon's the greatest place ever on earth.
Then you can take my picture.
Yeah, I know we're way over, so.
Okay.
Right.
Yep. I gotta go. I'm really sorry, but if you guys want to keep going, please.
So we're gonna wrap up.
We're wrapping up.
So we're wrapping up. We're wrapping up.
You sure? Because that's gonna be another 15 minutes.
No, we're wrapping up.
We're done.
I don't know what I'm doing on my channel. There you go.
Mine's already listed. Tomorrow I'm playing Call to Kill 4th.
Cool.
I'm actually probably going to record some more Kinfire. Colin and I are actually going to do a recap of Oathsworn. We're going to do spoiler-free review for like 3 seconds. And then we're going to go into spoiler review after that. And then I've got Kinfire coming. That's kind of the deal.
Yeah, and then D&D.
And
D&D Sunday.
Yep. Cool.
Derrick's
And you,
channel.
Steve?
I'm covering, it's right in front of me actually. You can't see on the camera here, but I'm be covering Midhala, which is launching on Kickstarter Monday. It's a fully
sweet.
cooperative dungeon crawl tower defense campaign game. Very unique, like mesh of stuff. Something that stands out for it. It is entirely deterministic combat. So, if you're curious about that thing, come check that out on Monday. I should have a couple videos dropping that day. So,
Cool.
okay.
All right.
I think that's the end of it for today. Thanks, guys. Oh man, we have so much more we could talk about. We could probably talk
We
about
had
Okay,
more. We had more, but we're running
next
short.
week we're gonna talk for 3 hours about what we did at Gen Con.
yeah, exactly.
we had more, but we gotta. We came here together. We leave here together.
That's right. That's right.
See, that's what friends are for. Should I sing the song? Good times
Okay,
right,
cool.
everybody.
Well, thanks everyone for watching, and thank you, Derrick and Bairnt, for joining as always. So,
Oh, anytime, Steve. You know it.
okay, and everyone watching, thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the next stop.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Goodbye.